A great partnership can multiply your success, but a bad one, that can divide everything that you've built. What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Grind.
BTG.
If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. And please don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any of our future content. Our podcast is for those who want to go beyond the grind. My name is Kay.
I'm Alan.
And I'm Tosin. And today I wanted to kind of go deeper on a thought that I've been having recently, right? And it's about partnerships. All right. Yeah, man. Life experiences, day to day, everything that I do, some of these big ideas come up, right?
Yes.
And I always look at it like partnerships. I really want us to talk about partnerships because I see the value in different kinds of partnerships and relationships that are out there, because a partnership is a relationship is a partnership. Correct. So I see it all as kind of everybody's intertwined somehow, right? But then coming at it from, let's even start with just coming at it from the business angle, right? You see where I was talking to a founder one day, and he's like, man, I really need to find a co-founder. I'm like, what, your idea isn't good? He's like, nah, I just need to find a co-founder. I'm like, okay, what's going on? Why is it so urgent for you? He's like, hey, none of these private equity people are going to invest in me if I don't have a co-founder. They're looking at possibly multiple risks. I don't know, maybe because there's one person and so on and so forth. But it got me thinking about the idea of, man, like, why didn't he just start from the beginning with a partner? Right?
Why didn't he? Did he tell you why?
No. This was
you're asking
after.
Us.
Yeah.
We don't know.
No, but it ends up happening to a lot of people, right? So it's like,
why didn't you start with a partner?
Because nobody wanted to actually be my partner at that point.
You're terrible.
Well, so great question. Actually, I was not expecting that one. Okay. So let me tell you guys my experience. Right. So I had graduated around 2008. Right. Got a job, but the way I went through my career, it was different than most of the other folks that we went to accounting together. Right. A lot of them from college, they went to the Big Four. Right. From master's school,
what's the Big Four?
Big Four is the four biggest CPA firms in the U.S. It's KPMG, Deloitte, Ernst & Young, and what do you call it? I'm going to get...
Are you even a CPA?
KPMG, Ernst & Young, or EY, Deloitte, and man, how am I missing one? Okay, I don't know.
If you guys can remember, please drop it in the comment
for me. All right. So that's where they went. So they were working for the big dogs, and my experience started from the middle dogs, right? I went to a CPA firm that's a large regional firm, right? They're probably top 5 in the region. So, number one, their experiences were wildly different than my experiences. And then now when it was time for me to jump out, I'm looking at it, I'm like, hey, I'm about to jump out. I want to do my own thing. Well, my experience prepared me to be able to jump out to do accounting at the level at which, we can relate to, mid-size to startups to mid-size businesses. Well, their experience only prepares them to talk to billion-dollar clients
which they don't have connections to anymore.
No, like
it was handed to them.
A billion-dollar client is not going to work with a solopreneur. No, right? They need to work.
$1 billion.
Yeah, usually they're looking for someone that can understand their scale.
Yeah.
Right. So generally, you might go out and consult, maybe, but you can't. It's going to be
not your client permanently.
Correct.
So to speak.
Correct. So that also, this was the first time any one of us were thinking about entrepreneurship or jumping out and all that stuff. So maybe they were watching me to see, hey, is it going to work out? Does this
They were.
Because you know what? Just because you want to go into entrepreneurship doesn't mean that your bills stop. All right. So if they're like, okay, we still got bills to pay, you know, maybe back then we were still trying to get married and so on and so forth. So it's like, my money still needs to be coming in compared to entrepreneurship journey that, you know, there's no guaranteed bi-weekly paycheck here. Right. However, fast forward about from the time I started in 2010 to the first time I got a partner, it took me 12 years to get my second partner.
Why did it take you so long?
Maybe
your second or your first partner?
Well, first partner. Oh, well, I meant the second person in the partner.
It's such an important decision.
It is an important decision.
Let him tell us. I want to know.
It is an important decision, but maybe I just kind of lost that, put that aside, or I think I was still talking about it, but we were still trying to settle what we're in, right? The business, when we jumped into entrepreneurship, we acquired a CPA firm, right? So it wasn't my clients from the beginning, it was somebody else's relationship. So there's a lot of learning that comes with that. So it just took time for me to be able to, you know, peek above the waves and say, hey, you know what, I'm looking for another partner.
Right.
Also, secondly, I didn't feel like there was, you know, it would have been wise to bring on a partner inside what we were currently doing. So what I really wanted to do was to acquire another one and use that new revenue, that new line of business to be able to pull someone else into the business. And it does take time, unfortunately or fortunately.
Is that what you did?
Yes. Okay. So it takes time to find that right next move, right? Because yes, there may be all these businesses selling this silver tsunami that they keep saying, but the seller has to like you. Yeah. You have to like the seller. The numbers, the math has to math. All kinds of different things. The bank also, if you're going to use a bank loan, the bank also has to like you, and then also it has to math for them with their risk and all that stuff. So it does take time to find that next deal. Yeah. So when we found the next deal, that's when I was able to bring in the next partners into the business.
So then why do you think that, I mean, you may have answered it, but the shorter way so we can follow. Why do you think they didn't partner with you, or you couldn't find a partner then? I mean, you gave me maybes, but why do you really think, you know, your feelings of it?
The way I built it from the scratch, it couldn't sustain another partner. And
then what about before you built it, when you were looking to open, did you seek partners or did you just not even consider it?
Because of the way I bought, they weren't ready. At least the people that I know.
Okay, so you didn't find anyone who that was ready to do what you wanted to do.
I mean, just to put all my business out there, you know, like when I bought my first business, I had been working for 3 years. And in those 3 years, I saved up enough money to put a down payment on a business, put a down payment on a house, put a down, buy a car, and get married.
All right, bro. So back in my day,
Kay is like, what is this? Yeah, there's a lot of backstory.
All that stuff cost $5 back then.
Amen. I wish. I mean,
but I like the fact that it took you a while before you got your next partner.
Yeah,
because I think, you know, people. I mean, we're talking about business relationship here, right? Especially from the co-founding perspective, I think alignment has to be the first thing that's on your mind, right? Just because you're starting a business, you can't pick any random person, because there has to be a couple of things that needs to be aligned. Number one, shared vision, you know, shared value, you know, risk. Like, I think we've talked about that before. Like, how are we going to discuss risk? Who's taking what risk? Does that make sense? Ownership structure, you know, what are the roles, what are the responsibilities, what are the equity that we're going to share, how are we going to vest them, even all the way down to how we're going to make decisions, and in case it doesn't work out, what does the exit plan look like should we disagree? And when you're in a situation where you're trying to run a business, you know, it's going to be hard to find somebody that check all those things. also you also have to think like from a skill set perspective. Is it somebody who's replicating me, or is it somebody who's complementing my skill set?
That's right.
You don't need somebody to replicate you, especially at the beginning. You know, you only need somebody to replicate you when you're ready to start delegating.
Yeah.
We're talking about partnership here, right? I remember in my entrepreneurship journey, I've had many scenarios where I didn't do those checklists, right? Do we have the same vision? Do we have the same values? You know, how do we want to structure things, right? We call it founders agreement. They itemize all those things, right? And you start running the business, and then you realize that you're having a lot of conflicts. You're having disagreements. And so you're focusing on resolving these little conflicts, these little disagreements. But you know what? These disagreements and conflicts are essentially symptoms of a bigger issue. Mm-hmm. And the bigger issue is the lack of alignment in the foundation of the relationship. Does that make sense? When I started my company, Zazu, you know, they say you live and you learn, right? So you get to a point where, you know what? We know what to do. Mm-hmm. We know what not to do. Let's get a founders agreement. Let's align on roles. Let's align on responsibilities. Let's align on the vision. Let's align on our values. Let's align on even how we're going to earn these, equity that we're dividing amongst each other. And then should one of us decides to go cocoa and we need to push the person out, or somebody decides to exit,
it's in the agreement.
Let's align on that as well.
So were you guys, would you say you were aligned given that?
Oh, yes, 100%. Because
one heartbeat.
Yes, 100%. And I will tell you why, because, there is no way to plan for absolutely everything when you're starting a business. Mm-hmm. But when you have the foundational piece, I call them your guiding principles, right? Those are your bylaws. When you have those foundational piece set in place, essentially what happens is when there's an issue,
you go back to it.
What does the bylaw say? Right. Let's see, how we can navigate this situation. Because at the end of the day, the biggest thing is you want to be able to protect your credibility. You want to be able to protect the business integrity, right? And in order for you to protect your credibility, the business integrity, you got to make sure that you have these foundational pieces in place.
Now, did you guys set up all of those foundational pieces beforehand? Or was it after you guys had maybe had some kind of,
Oh, no. So there is the idea stage, right? Where we have an idea. So
cool idea, buddy.
We have an idea, right? Obviously, the idea comes from you noticing a problem, right? Any entrepreneur who knows the fastest way to test your idea is to test to see if it's to validate the problem. So we put out a survey to see if it's an actual problem that needed to be solved. Once we realized it was a problem that needed to be solved, then we started talking about, okay, you know what can we do? What can each person do, in the business to actually bring this idea to life? In the midst of that is when we started talking about all the nitty gritty about what needs to be involved in the business. And that's where a lot of the fights happen.
Yes.
People get emotional because you're like, what? You only giving me 15%? Yeah. Oh, well, I bring this value. Well, I bring that value.
Yeah.
But worth is different, right?
So
value and worth is different, right?
And even through that, we started to talk about how, it's not even about the value anymore. It's not even about what you're bringing to the table anymore. It's now about the role and what you can accomplish in that role. Mm-hmm. So, for example, I'm the COO. Let's say that, K does not get 20%. The COO gets 20%. And for the COO to get 20%, X, Y, and Z needs to happen. Right. At that point, it doesn't matter what I say I want 20% or 50%.
Right.
What matters is what value can you insert in the company.
It's measurable.
Exactly. So, right. So
not arbitrary.
Right. And at the beginning, we didn't structure it like that. Mm-hmm. So at the beginning, we structured like, you know what? You get 20, you get 20, you get 15. That's how we did it. And then we just kept going back and forth because those were emotional, unreliable decisions.
Yeah.
But then when you put some, metrics around those decisions, it makes it a lot easier.
So then how did you decide who is the captain?
Oh, that's
and also like, because there's gonna be times where it's like, say the math works out, you're dead split one way, you're at a crossroads where two people vote this way, two people or whatever, the equity share or whatever falls one way. Right. How does who says, okay, that's great, I've heard you guys.
Who's the tiebreaker? Yeah,
who's the tie? I've heard you guys, but this is the way we're going. Like, how is that determine how the decision?
So in terms of decision, so we do have an internal board system where we vote, right? So if you look at it from 100% perspective, if two people vote outweigh the other two people, then their decision is what we're going to go with. But let's say we are in a situation where we have a tie. In a situation like that, we allow the CEO to make the final decision.
So you elected who gets the CEO title, or they possess CEO skills to be the CEO?
We looked at everybody's skill set, and based on that skill set, we appointed the CEO. So what that means was, so for me, somebody suggested, okay, you should be the CEO. And I didn't want to be the CEO. And the reason why is because I was more passionate about operational efficiencies.
COO, yeah.
Right? Whereas the CEO, so if you ever pay attention to the book Traction, you have the visionary and then you have the integrator. Right. I was more of the integrator, yeah. Right? I'm the detail type of guy. I like structure. I like things. If anybody who's ever worked with me, right, we can have all these strategy conversations. I'm the guy who's going to go put it together and be like, okay, you know what? This is how we're going to bring it to life, right? The CEO was more of the overly optimistic dreamer. Yeah. I'm not the overly optimistic dreamer. I'm okay, that sounds good. Let's bring it to life. Yeah. What do we need to do to structure this in a way that allows us to execute?
So I don't want everyone to think that that's just what all CEOs are, but what would you define the core roles the CEO had? Just 5 little bullet points. I think no more than 5 or less.
Well, I think ultimately the CEO is the visionary. Is the person that dictates where the company is going.
The pace too, or no?
Sorry?
The pace also, not just the direction?
Not the pace, the direction.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just wanting you to clarify.
Yeah, the direction, because you're the one speaking to the internal and external stakeholders. You're the one who you're not looking at today. You're looking at 3, 4, 5 years in advance, and then you're coming back and saying, "Hey, this is where I want us to go." Right. Whereas an integrator, I'm the one that's making sure that what we're doing today allow us to get to that place where we're trying to go.
Okay,
5 years from now.
Perfect definition.
Some people are like, oh yeah, see, like, nah,
CEO is not the most technical. It doesn't have to be the most technical.
It just happens.
Yeah. But I also
sometimes they are,
but I also understand that in the context of business relationship, we also have business professional relationships, right? Yeah. So these are partnerships that you've created maybe with vendors, or relationships that you've created with managers, colleagues, and things
go up or down,
right? Or up or down, right? So
like seniority or hierarchy,
exactly, right? Do you guys have any experience in those type of relationships?
I have a lot of relationships. To be honest, I'm sharing. Don't get ahead of y'all. This is probably my most successful business partnership. I'll be honest. I pretty much done
a professional relationship.
A professional relationship.
Okay.
I've pretty much done everything year to date. As far as like partnership. Let me change that. Partnership, not relationship. I mean, you guys are awesome all too, but but because to walk it back, when I try to open my practice in dentistry, I don't know what it is. They say, a pack of alphas, you can't really do anything. And I say that because I was telling someone the other day, all my closest friends are Leos. And I get along with them. And it seems that there's something about us. No, I just found out somebody else was Leo. We get along in another place. And I was like, anyway, but I'm saying that something about the people that I'm around for, that are high achieving, it's almost like they don't, now it's different, but back then it's like, they did it. They all wanted to do it themselves, right? It's like they couldn't agree. They're like, "Oh, you're doing this," and I'm like, "We don't have to compete against each other to get to the top. We can be on the same team and compete with everyone else and get to the top, right?"
100%.
And I'm like, but everyone can't play quarterback on a team. That's what I keep telling people.
It's only one captain.
We can't both be quarterback and be in the game. Somebody got to catch the ball. Somebody got to run the ball. Somebody got to block.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we got two quarterbacks. It's like when you play fantasy football. You draft a whole bunch of quarterbacks, you lose them. You get all the best quarterbacks, you lose. You got 3 cold quarterbacks, no running backs.
That's why you need complementary skills.
And so it felt like everyone wanted to be quarterback, and I'm like, we can all win. And it felt like it was difficult for me to find partners.
Yes.
And some of them felt like, oh, that's crazy. We're going to wait 5 years and then do this. I'm like, no, I'm ready now. Let's go.
I think that's a good way to put I felt.
I know.
Everybody wants to be the top dog, but
but nobody was ready to go either. Yeah. Everyone was like, well, I'm ready to be this, that. But they want to go at their own pace and do their own thing. I'm like, bro, I got this right here. You can do this. And it was almost like when you're younger, people want the credit. When you're older, you don't care about the credit. You just want the motion.
I want the outcome. That's right.
Exactly. But that's I don't know if that comes with wisdom or experience, right? That you just start playing more like a team.
It comes from watching podcasts like this, right? where you learn that, hey, 100% of zero is zero.
Right. Okay. So you learn to play on a team. And I say this to everyone. Y'all know how I feel about if you did extracurriculars or team sport. Chances are you're going to be a better employee. Not saying that you're not a good employee. You're going to be better employee earlier on in your career or a team worker, a teammate than you are if you did it. Because there is something intangible that you learn from, playing sports, working towards, or whatever, any kind of group thing, whether it's a band, whatever,
theater.
You have to work hard. You have to do things you don't want to do to get where you want to go.
Yeah.
Like you figure out how to work with it. And I felt like I didn't have that. Now, as far as like partnerships, I said this is probably my most successful one. So with other relationships, I have great relationships, but it just felt like it was difficult for me to find people who were aligned. And when I found some people who were aligned with the goal and they wanted that, they were still stuck on the dream phase, right? So you can be aligned all you want. We want to go the same direction. But if I'm the only one running and I got to go back up and put you on my back every time, we're not going far. We got to both be like, all right, let's run together. Let's pull the sled together, you know? So that was point 1 and point 2. As far as you speaking about relationships laterally, right? Like relationships with vendors and all that. That aside from your actual team at your office is so important.
Yeah.
Correct.
I cover an office that literally, I kid you not, every other day, 1 or 2 ops or the operatories, the treatment rooms is down. I'm stepping on the water and nothing's coming on. I'm stepping on the high speed and water's coming out the back end. And the service technician is called, one day it was all 4 or 5 ops. I had already started treatment. I was like, this is crazy. Like I gotta wait an hour and I got a ton of patients and have patients that are numbed and half their medical treatment has started and this, so they have someone coming out all the time. And I said, look, I know you guys have a huge group and you get a discount, it's 50% discount. But if he's been out here 10 times, like you paid 5x.
Yeah.
What you would have paid had you paid this. And so, at my office, I realized how important it is to have a really good repair person, a really good equipment person, a really good this person that I can rely on, that they're going to have this consistently happen. And as you go on in business, you realize how important that is. That Rolodex, Tosin, by the way, has all the connections there. If you need anything, that's the dude. He got the biggest Rolodex on the planet. But right? You're like, hey man, I need this. Yeah, I got me here. I'll introduce you. But it becomes important because I have a colleague now who needs, a repair guy, an IT guy. I'm like, boom. He's like, Alan. I was like, what? Clutch. He was like, yo, Cam is the realest dude ever. He came like that, did all my IET. Like he was like, I'm about to buy. Is he have any kids? I need to buy him a birthday gift.
Yeah.
Like he saved my life. Same with equipment. Same with this. Same with that. And it's so nice to have someone that you can rely on.
Yes.
And it is important to make them appreciated in that aspect. When you create those relationships, he knows, you know, when he's here, he's going to get paid before the end of the day. Because I want him to know that you don't have to, you can invoice me if you want, but I'm going to pay you that. Like, you ain't even going to get home. You can get paid and probably get bonus because you just saved me, you know? So, and I let him know, like, hey, I'm putting you on these people. You better not mess it up.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
I'm gonna tell them I don't know him like that. My bad. And cut him up if you got it. Like,
but those things, you're right. Those things actually create social capital for you as well.
Correct.
You know, when you align yourself with the right people, and part of that is also aligning yourself with, you know, expectations. You know, I think a lot of times the relationships fall apart when, you know, there's a misalignment in expectations, right? If I know exactly what you're looking for and you know what I'm looking for,
100,
then essentially we're working in sync. But if there's a misalignment in expectation, then, you know, there's bad blood between you, and then, you know, it goes down the hill.
I think one thing also to add on to what Alan said here is that I think we also have to be the right people that people want to partner with us.
Exactly.
100%.
Right? Because no one's going to work with you if you're not likable, if you're not personable, if you're also not pulling your weight. Right?
That's the biggest one.
That's
right.
You got to pull your weight.
You can dream all day long, but are you the problem? But right?
You know,
everybody else is doing stuff together.
Everybody, because you look on social media, oh yeah, we could partner and do this. You always got the homies who are like, oh, we get together and do this. And if anyone knows me, when it comes to anything business, if we have a good idea, because I am the dreamer, but I'm not sleeping at night. I'm writing up the financials and projections, and I'm like, they're like, oh, you already started? I'm like, yes. A week passes and you didn't get no motion. I'm like, you're not serious. Hit me up when you're ready.
Guys, I had somebody who essentially wanted me to write them a recommendation. And this person does not pull their weight at all. To the point that even sometimes their personality is so dry that they're not approachable. But when it was time, like, hey, you know, I got this opportunity. I need you to essentially write me some recommendation, you know, and I didn't even know how to, because I'm very big on my recommendation. If I'm writing recommendation, I want it to mean something, right? Yeah. And I had to just sit there.
Did you tell him?
And really think.
Did you tell him?
How was that? Did you tell him? Is he watching?
You avoiding.
This is his way of telling him.
I wrote the recommendation, but
it wasn't from my heart.
But,
you know,
I wrote it.
ChatGPT generic.
I wrote it from an aspiration perspective. Not from a what have you done for me perspective.
By faith.
And I'm with you. Everyone who I've written a recommendation to has gotten into dental school. Like 100%. So like, you know, like I get it. Like, but luckily the people I've written it to have having good work ethic. And I always say, to your effect, if you gotta ask someone for a recommendation letter, I don't know if that's the person who you should be writing it to, because they don't know you enough to know that you're applying for this position.
That's true.
Or applying for this one. Because all my recommendations that worked out well, I didn't ask a single one. They were like, oh, how is this going? Oh, I'm applying. Oh, do you need a recommendation letter?
Exactly.
How does that work?
Yeah.
Versus I work for a dentist and I asked him for a recommendation letter for weeks, months.
Never got it.
No. Then I came in there. I was like, hey, I need my recommendation letter. Hey, are you going to do it? He goes in his office, super messy, shuffling. I'm like, he's looking for this paper. He comes out. There's a piece of paper. I'm pretty sure he filled it out just then. And he didn't even put excellent. It was like, okay, fair, excellent.
It's like shred.
And I was like,
I'm not going to use that.
He was like, there you go. And I was like, I took it. I was like, thank you. I walked and I called the other guy who used to work for him, who he wrote a recommendation letter. I was like, man, I just got a recommendation letter, and it's probably the worst one. I'm not supposed to see it, but he didn't care. He gave it to me. It's probably. He was like, I could have told you. He he wrote me a similar recommendation, except I hounded him to write me a real one. And when he wrote me a real one, he wrote all this good thing. And he said, but he's late all the time. and he was like, I confronted him and said, why would you do that? He was like, I can't make it too perfect. No one believe me. But that's not true. You don't ever do that if you're watching. But to make a long story short, I didn't use the recommendation letter. And even the person he wrote that recommendation for got in dental school. Yeah. However, I didn't get it because he was literally like his adopted son. Like they were really tight. So for me, after I had that conversation, I was like, if he's going to do that to him, rip.
Yeah. And I think what we're trying to let people know is that, look, the right partnership, the right relationship, it can add a lot of value. You know, it can definitely protect your reputation, and then also it can get you a lot of opportunity. But it starts with you being the right person that people want to partner with.
It does.
Right. If you don't check yourself, if you're not making sure that you're positioning yourself, you're doing the work so that people can want to partner with you, then you're not going to get those opportunities.
How can they do the work though to like that's a partnership or relationship? Like someone asks you for a recommendation letter, you're like,
I mean, okay.
So how could he have proved it to you? Like, hey, I've changed. That was yesterday.
I'll give you an example, right? You know, which is that because when I'm looking at partnership, you know, I'm looking at it from 3 different lenses, right? Obviously, we've talked about business, right? We also have platonic relationships as well, right? My wife was telling me. Actually, I'll tell you a quick story. Her birthday was October the 24th, right? And what are we? We're in March, right? October, November, December, January, February, March. So we're like 7 months. Do you know that every weekend somebody is still taking her out for her birthday dinner?
Who's this guy? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm talking about my wife. And the reason why is because she has invested so much in the lives of people
that they really appreciate.
That everybody is taking turn to appreciate her.
I like it.
And I remember I told her, I said, hey babe, I said, you know, on my birthday, I just get text messages saying, hey bro, happy birthday, man. Deuces. On her birthday, like, it feels like, you know,
you feel special through her birthday.
DoorDash, Amazon, whoever you can name, they're all knocking on the door, bringing flowers, cake.
But it's a love language too.
So I asked her, I said, you know, what's going on? Like, what are you doing?
How?
And I was like, how can I do the same thing? How can I get the same thing? She said, do you take people out on their birthday?
Yeah.
Do you call to check up on people? Are you cooking for people to make when they're not feeling good? Are you visiting people when they're sick? She listed all these things, and I said, no. She said, how can you expect to reap what you have yet to sow?
That's right.
And that really touched me. And I had to look at myself and I said, you know what? I need to become a better friend. Yeah. So to answer your question directly, what can you do? You can start by doing the exact thing that you want people to do for you. Yeah. So if you want...
He needs to write you a recommendation. To who? To where? I'll write you one today.
Dude, forget the recommendation letter.
There's something else you can do. Don't worry.
If you want...
Can we fix your car? My car ain't broke.
If you want people to you know, go above and beyond for you.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Go above and beyond for them.
Yeah.
You know, if you want people to treat you well on your birthday, treat other people well on their birthday. If you want people to be nice to you, be nice to people.
Now, as far as partnerships, what do they need to do to be? Because I know why some of the partnerships that I actually have never sought a partnership except for when I started, because I'm like you. I need to know that you have the same alignment and work ethic
before you can make friends.
Before I can have a partnership, just partnership in general, in business or even in business. Like, I haven't sought any business partnerships. Sorry. So with that being said,
so we'll come back to business.
Yeah, I'm just segueing real quick. So in business, I said, like, I haven't sought one out since I started out, except for you guys and stuff. But everybody else has sought me out. I've tried it. It just felt like either one or two.
They're not pulling their weight.
They're not pulling their weight, or there's already a partnership and I'm a third partner to it, and they're like have not been in alignment. So it's just chaotic, you know, and it's not working. But as far as my last question to you is like, I forgot, what was it? No, I'm kidding. How do you you making me really, really get off track. How do
Let
you
him land the question.
Go ahead, Alan. Land the question.
how do you let's switch up.
Okay.
Forget the question.
All right, here's a question that I can ask, right?
Yeah.
You know, how do you differentiate, like, how do you figure out a friend, like that friendship relationships that Kay's talking about, friends that support growth or friends that pull you back?
As far as me?
Yeah.
So I feel he literally answered it. His wife just answered it, which is you reap what you sow. If you're not sowing those seeds, and unfortunately, you know, I was gonna say
Because I have an answer to that. Go ahead.
but I was gonna say, like, how do you differentiate? You see who is sowing into you when you need them. Like, I realized recently I'm an extrovert, right? So I meet a lot of people, and I feel like I know a lot of people, right? And I'm a lot of people's friends, or they consider me their friends, right? Really good friends, right? Because I do for people what I would want done for me. Like, if you're like, hey man, I'm trying to figure out this X, Y, and Z, I'll walk you through and figure it out with you.
That's right.
I'll suggest something to you. If I know of anything, I'll probably not sleep that night looking up stuff on your behalf and hit you up if you're really
Share the
open
knowledge.
to it, right?
Yep.
Because that's what I would want. However, I feel like when I need people, they're like, man, nah. Like, for instance, I had someone, you know, this is business and friendship. When I was looking to move my office, right? Person stayed at my office and stuff and used it, all that stuff. Then he moved out, got his office. Then he hadn't even gotten his office open, his first office open. And he was gonna get plans for a second and a third office. Like, man, I need to move my office because I want to renew the rent at this place. Da, 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 da. He was like, okay, have you looked? I was like, yeah, I've been looking around. He's like, well, I got a spot that I'm looking for to save for my second office. I was like, what are you talking about? You haven't even opened your first office. Open in like a month. He's like, yeah, but in a year and a half when I opened, I got the spot. I was like, oh, you gonna hook me up? No, that's for me. And mind you, he was using my space and all this other stuff. Like, bro, you haven't even landed your first you haven't even moved into your first office.
You're already locked
You're
down
using my
something. Yeah.
You're using my supplies. You're using all my stuff. I'm helping. You're asking me for advice. I'm helping you with marketing, and I'm helping you with all this. And I'm asking you, can I move my other office space into a new space? I need to find a new lease. I got only like a few months. You're looking at, like, he's like, yeah, I got my second and third office. So I was like, you got two offices aside from the one that you haven't even moved into. And you
don't
can't
want to share the.
I was like, that's when I realized, like, oh, I'm an idiot. But it's not to say you should feel that way. It's just to say, I felt like, okay, maybe I'm overreaching and overhelping. It's not to say you should stop helping people. It's that it teaches you who you can rely on. So then you now realize, like, okay, this friendship is not equal.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't, if you do something, don't be hurt and don't be expecting more.
I just wanted to ask another question, but I still want to ask Kate.
Answer it.
Sure.
No, go ahead. Answer. You were going to give us an answer.
Yeah, I was actually going to frame it up in a story. You know, because I feel like let's just cover the base, right? Friendship definitely influence your mindset,
100%.
your habits,
Yep.
Yes.
and the direction of your life.
Yeah.
So if you make the wrong friendship, not only can it derail where you're trying to go in life, but it can also, you know, damage your credibility, right? Quick story for you guys. There was a guy, we're going to call him, you know, Guy, right? Really good friend of mine. We kind of grew up together. Have you guys ever had those people that you're friends because you grew up, but
Proximity.
you don't necessarily you don't necessarily adopt their lifestyle, but you're cool with them because of proximity. It's like, hey, but you know, like, this is not somebody that I will probably say that is my best friend. Okay.
Yeah.
So had this guy reached out to me a few years ago. Hey, Kay, you know, I'm just trying to get my life together. I need $500. I said, okay, no problem. Give him $500. Right. And he said that I'll get it back to you within 2 weeks. I said, no problem. Then my mindset has always been like, hey, don't borrow whatever you're not willing to lose, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
So I wasn't even expecting that money back. 2 weeks come, hit me up, gave me $600.
Oh,
He
man.
said, here's $500, here's $100 interest.
That's something I would do.
I said, wow, thank you.
Seems like a setup, but keep going.
A month goes by. He reached out to me again. He said, man, I got something I'm building. Things are looking good.
He knew already. You've been set up.
Here's $100.
He said, I need to borrow $1,000.
He hit you with the okey
So I'm like, $1,000?
Man.
No problem.
Like, he's good for it.
I'm like,
I might get like
so
500, 600.
So I gave it to him, you know, and in my mindset, what I was giving him was 400. Why? Because that
You didn't expect the
600, I
600,
wasn't
right?
expecting
Yeah.
it, right? So, and I was like, when can I expect to get this $1,000 back? He said, in a month. He said, I got you back. No problem. A month go by. I wasn't even thinking about it. He reached out to me. He said, hey, I got your money. Here's $1,200.
Oh, he was really.
I said,
He ain't gonna give him 20.
I said, oh man, so
And then you start running this. I know.
so I said, man,
He was like,
I said, do me a favor. What are you doing? He said, oh, you know, he just got his financial license and now he's a trader.
oh, he's a day trader.
So I'm like, oh, really? I said, tell me how that works. He showed me all these graphs. I don't know what any of it meant. I was like, cool. So 3 months go by. He sent me a screenshot. He said, look, he said, because of you, he said that $1,000.
100.
No, it's now $5,000.
Oh,
He said, life is good.
5X.
I'm like, wow. I'm like,
You gonna break me off?
I'm like, can I give you 500 so that you can add that and then I want to see it grow? Said, sure. On the day, I gave him 1,000. He said, why you give me 1,000? I said, I just want to see what you can do with this. Gave it to him. 6 months go by. Didn't say anything. After a whole year, hey, whatever happened to that 1,000? He said, oh, I'm glad you said something. He said, give me your account number. Gave my account number.
You wouldn't even manage it?
He sent me 3,500. Whoa, what's going on? He said, yeah. He said, things has been good. He said, your money is good. Then he showed me his portfolio. I said, wow. I said, you really got this down to the T. He said, yeah. He said, I've studied this. He said, this is all I do. I said, you know what? How would you like to, you know, manage some of my money?
Oh.
He said,
That's how the NFL players right?
he said,
What's this guy's name? He's one of the beginning NFL players?
he said, yeah, I got you.
I mean, he's good.
So I gave him $5,000, right? Gave it to him. Now, at this time, crypto is already crashing. Stocks is crashing.
Yeah.
Everything is crashing. Everybody who knows me, I'm a business advisor. I'm a financial advisor. Kay, who's managing your money? Oh, I'm running my business right now. I got somebody managing my money.
Yeah.
Man, why are you always doing a brother like that, man? Can you just let us know what's going on? I said, well, it's my cousin that, you know, manages it. I said, I can make an intro if you want me to. He's like, yeah, make the intro. Make the intro. Yeah. My name is XYZ. I'm K, financial manager. That's how he was positioning himself. And everybody knows K as upstanding, credible, you know, this guy, right? Okay, cool. So introduce him to one person managing their money. So eventually, when everything crashed, I sold all my crypto, gave it to him. He said, you know what, bro? I'm going to be giving you a monthly statement. Cool. Not that so what ended up happening was he started reaching out to people behind my back.
That knew you.
That knew me, to say, hey, I'm the one managing K's money. So people would now reach out to me to say,
You know him.
hey, is X, Y, and Z managing your money? Oh, yeah. Oh, do you want me to make an intro? I can make an intro. Come to find out that slowly, within a span of a year and a half, this guy has collected almost $1 million
in managed funds?
in managed funds.
Without a license.
So remember, he told me he was licensed. So
Wait.
so let me finish the story.
Legally, or because there's legal ways to get around.
No, just wait.
Advising.
Just wait. So I'm like, okay, you know what?
Are you implicating yourself in this?
No. Nah. So I'm like, okay, you know what? You know, crypto is down. I said, let me just cash out the rest of my crypto. It's like 20 grand. Gave it to him. So now he got 25 grand. So I'm seeing my thing rising up. I'm like, man, I said, life is good. You the man. I said, whatever you need, you know, I got you.
Was the bank statements or the statements he was making and generating?
No, a statement from the trading account.
Oh, from the trading account. Okay.
So all of a sudden, I cut the story short. So all of a sudden,
this is a good story.
all of a sudden, we're sitting there and somebody reached out to me. Hey, man, I just want to say I appreciate you so much. You know, I had gave your guy some money and, you know, my money doubled and I'm about to go use this money for a down payment. Wait, I didn't introduce you. What happened? He said, yeah, he just reached out to me and told me, you know, he manages your money. I was like, oh, okay. So then I reached out to him. Oh, hold up.
You just reaching out my LinkedIn?
This person said you reached out to them. He's like, yeah. He's like, a lot of people just started reaching out and I was just reaching back out and stuff. I'm like, so how much of people's money do you have? He said, oh, about 700 to $1 million. Bruh, I almost had a heart attack. I said, do you know that if something happens to you, like everybody's money is gone?
Yeah.
So I picked up my phone and I just started calling everybody. You gave this guy money? You need to take it back right now. Some people was like, yeah, you just being selfish because you making all the money now. You don't want us to eat from the pot. Other people was like, okay, yeah, I'll get my money. So I reached back out. I'm like, hey, you need to give everybody back their money. So he's like, you want to take your money out first? I'm like, no. Cut the long story short. He said he's going to give everybody their money back. Eventually, guy just stopped picking up.
Wow.
Everybody money gone?
Everybody money was gone.
But the accounts, they have access to it, right?
No.
So
it's probably
he's trading his brokerage.
So
I thought he was trading their brokerage.
So I went to go do research. Come to find out, he was never licensed to begin with. Now, this is what I call an emotional con, right? I spent probably almost 20 years building a reputation of being an upstanding person, a trustworthy person, a credible person.
But you at least trying to
rectify. When I found out the situation, obviously I called people, right? But people don't want to hear that. Once people lose their money, like...
But that was before they lost it. What do you call them?
No. Yeah, well, the money was already lost. When I called for them to get their money back, it was already gone. Apparently, we've been getting... Conver made up statements.
That's what I was asking. Real statement.
You know, they were never real statements. So, you know, I tell that story to say, like, you also have to be careful who you associate yourself with, because
that hurt me.
Friendship, like, it can make you or it can break you. And it took me a long time to recover from that, right?
Yeah,
because
business with nobody.
The trust is gone.
The trust is gone. Now, obviously, you know, people were mad, but the thing is, whoever is guilty, the person that's not guilty is the person picking up the call, right? The person that's not guilty, the person that's guilty.
They probably thought you were in on it. They ain't even go.
Someone's got to catch that smoke.
Yeah. Oh,
they're gonna catch it from everybody.
Somebody
can't reach. They can't reach
your cousin.
That was somebody. Not even that. Not even that. Here's what they would say. What, didn't you do your due diligence? Yeah. And the first thing I want to say is, didn't you do your due diligence? But obviously you can't say that, right?
They're like, yeah, I called you. And you said he was good. good. Like, what do you mean?
Since when?
you not good.
Since when the kid decides to be the one-stop shop? You know, if I tell you that, hey, Alan is one-stop shop, are you going to just take my word for it, or are you going to do your own research?
You better do your own research. I will.
You know, we're too old. We know better, right?
Yeah.
But in your youth, you're like, bro, K's good. He got his money with him. Why would he do that? In hindsight, they're like, K got some of my money.
You know what we call that school of hard knocks?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You've got to learn those lessons at some point.
I'm glad.
I'm glad it would have been like, it got to be in your account. I thought you were just going to copy trade to my account.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah.
Because there's some software that
you can do that.
But yeah, you live and you learn. And I call it emotional con, right? Because the people that are closest to you, you don't look at them twice.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, you know,
it's
like if you invite me over to your house, you're not going to be thinking like, K might steal something. You know what I'm saying? Now, if I had the mentality to come steal from you, I can easily get you. Why? Right. Because you're not looking at me. You're like, oh, that's K. Like,
guard's down.
You know, your guard is down, right? But if it's a random person coming into your house,
oh man,
you're watching them like a hawk.
Yeah.
You want to see everything that they're doing to make sure that not only are they not stealing, but you're protecting them from your family.
That's true.
You know? So
that would have hurt me.
So for me,
your friends.
I tell people all the time, like, hey, don't trust blindly. When you build platonic relationship, you also have to make sure that you put boundaries up and you let people earn, you know, whatever trust that you know you're going to give them.
Honestly, at the end of the day, you need to do your due diligence, because that goes in. When it comes to investments or things that are risky, there's no such thing as a sure thing. If it's risky and it involves something that you'll cry and lose, you know, sleep over, then you need to do your due diligence as if it was just someone off the street.
I don't even think you should do it at all.
No, I'm saying,
if
like,
it's going to cost you that much.
Yes.
No.
And never invest what you're not willing to lose.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. But people trade all the time. Anyway.
No, but they're not trading
I know.
the whole 401 it out and giving it to K's cousin, you know? That's what they were doing? I hope not.
I think they were losing like enough to feel it, but not
some because you know, like the tendency is like, hey, I want to maximize on this, right? So some people, you know,
you can't recover from it.
But speaking about friendship relationships, I think that, you know, as time goes, I think some friendships have seasons, right? You grow out of them.
Yes.
How do you handle that, right? Because sometimes when people see you and you're like, hey, yeah, we used to be cool, or maybe college, you know, college friends and so on, like, and then all of a sudden they see, he's too good for me now.
Well, I call it
he's too good for me now, you know?
They're called proximity friends.
I mean, it's that and like, you know, I used to like certain foods. I don't necessarily like them as much. It doesn't mean that they're terrible. It just means that like I now like this food now. You know what I mean? So you got to prioritize certain things. That doesn't mean discard certain friendships or whatnot, but you got to allocate your time properly to the ones that are yielding fruit, right? So the ones that are investing in you and you're investing in them, they're meaningful. And it doesn't mean you should stop being friends with them. It just means in this season, you should invest in the important core things to building you and that you can build also. Well, because it's a relationship, right?
Yeah, but part of it is also categorization. Like every person has to be able to categorize the level of friendship that they have.
That's
so true. Is this a seasonal friend?
Yes.
You know, is it a lifetime friendship? So lifetime friendship, like for example, my Zazu guys, they're lifetime friendship. Why? Because despite the distance, despite the fact that we're no longer doing business together, we're still doing quarterly check-in. You know, we're still engaging with each other. You know, we might not speak every day, but when we speak, it's like we're picking up from where we left off. Does that make sense? Also, you have friends that, you know, you're only friends with them simply because of family, you know, acquaintance.
Like you didn't pick them.
Right. You didn't pick them, or neighbors, you know, and, you know, based on
proximity.
Right. Proximity. And based off of that categorization, you deal with everybody accordingly.
Well, I think it's easier to make real friends. If you can have proximity friends that end up being real friends, right? From a kid. But the older you get, it becomes harder because we get busy with life, we get busy with family, we get busy with this, to choose, even though that's the only time you can really choose your friends, right? Because you choose where you go, you choose who you want to talk to. But it becomes increasingly more difficult to make those friends that are actual integral to your being, because all the stuff that gets in the way. And most of your friends are now going to be like coworkers or whatever.
Yeah.
You're not going to.
They're not really friends though. The coworkers are just more associates.
No, you might meet people that you like at work.
Like
but
they call
not
it a circle
always-
of friends, right?
Not always that
circle of
like
acquaintances.
But then there are some jobs that you have coworkers and you're friends after you leave that job.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying. It still becomes difficult to meet friends that are not just only focused on your business and you're just business or work or this sphere's friends. Where you have friends that you just like hang out outside of work, hang out outside of wherever church or religious place you go to, hang out outside like your actual friends and care for your well-being.
Does that mean that the fact that you've never hung out with me outside of the podcast, that means you're not my friend?
No, but we could talk outside of that.
You know
like
what? I'm really starting to consider our friendship. You know?
But do you hang out?
Yeah, I hang out.
When do you hang out? The kids, the wife. That's not you hanging out by yourself.
Our producers always hit me up saying, "Hey, Kay, you coming out tonight?" That's a joke. That's a joke.
My point is, we don't really hang out as much in general, so there's less opportunity to have those type of things.
Yeah.
But despite the fact that you don't hang out, outside of podcasts as much, it's not a function of not liking or
Of
not.
course.
It's just like our window time is like this,
Plus, you have your family who's your
Sometimes you gotta be
priority.
intentional.
You have to be
hanging out.
intentional.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Some people
that's
do
one
it
of my
better.
main things.
I think Tosin is trying to send you a message.
Well,
No, I
some
know.
people do it better. I don't do it as good. I mean, my type of hangout is like
So actually,
you do more stuff.
So actually, one of my goals this year was to be an
Me
intentional
too.
friend,
Me
right?
too.
And part of being an intentional friend is just making sure that I'm checking up on people, especially because the people that are close to me are the people that we're doing life together. So it's
Yes.
either,
Yes.
we
That
go to
usually-
church together, we work together, we're doing podcasts together,
work out or something.
we have shared values and goals,
Yes.
right? So, and the way I tend to drop the ball is when it's not that specific thing, I don't really associate with them, right? But I'm trying to get to that space where I can say, you know what? I'm not calling Alan about a podcast topic. I'm saying, Alan,
What's up? What are you doing?
what's up, man? did you watch the game yesterday?
Right, exactly. Like, not-
Hey, let's go to Top Golf. Let's go hang out.
Well, do you think friends can be good business partners?
Yes and no.
Can. He said can, not will.
Or
Yes.
answer it the way you felt it.
So
All right.
I think yes and no. A lot of time you can tell if a friend can be a good business partner if the friend can prove to be somebody who's accountable. Accountability is
That's
a big,
lacking.
I
these
think, or
days.
maybe you can hold accountable to that. You can hold that
and
person
that person
accountable.
can hold you accountable.
Correct.
Some people aren't good at holding others accountable.
Right.
To be honest.
And it's exactly. And so for me, I feel like you have certain friendships where, they'll look at you and say, "Oh, it's just Alan. He wouldn't mind." It's okay. And when you have those type of relationships, you can never ever do business with them because at the end of the day, it's like you gotta. And then there are some people that can't separate friendship from business.
Oh my God, preach.
I
I know so many of
Well,
them.
I think you answered
I know
Alan's,
so many of
Alan's
those.
point, but go ahead
Yeah,
real quick,
like,
and then I want to hear Alan.
Like you get like for me, I'm the type of person that look, I can have a huge disagreement with you.
And still be cool.
I could be stern with you, and then at the end of the day, I'm like, man, you trying to go out and get something
Right, like-
and they be like, nah, man, this is why it's so hard for husband and wife to do business together because you can have a disagreement at work, and then you come home, you're like, nah, don't talk to me.
yeah, or vice versa.
Or vice versa.
You know,
Nah, it's you hit the nail on the head, whatever the saying is, and I just think that like it is difficult for some people to understand this is business and this is friendship. In both spheres, you should be very respectful. You can disagree respectfully without being rude or mean or demeaning, right? So I'm gonna disagree with you, in business. We disagree, we all disagree. And I'm just like, but then the day I'm like, y'all trying to go get some food? Like, it's nothing. I'm like, cause that was that situation. That doesn't mean I don't like you.
you don't take it personal because
Personal.
you guys are both fighting for something,
Right.
Not fighting each other.
Exactly.
Yeah, something that you're passionate about.
And I was gonna say in business, I think I have a lot of friends who don't and I actually didn't realize how many people don't do a good job of walking themselves through scenarios. Yeah. They can't like I feel like mentally, if I'm thinking about something, I break it down through the scenario. Like, for instance, I had someone who was CEO of marketing, one of the partnerships I was at, right? And we asked him, so who's doing the marketing? Oh, I got a homeboy. He's really good at it. I'm like, oh, so what does he do? Does he do digital? Man, what type of marketing? Is it social media?
He's just done marketing.
Oh, sure, I don't know. It's he's got it though. And I was like, bro, what? Like, you're in charge of marketing. He's like, oh man, like I already said he can do it and this, that, and that. I was like, did you ask any of us? Well, I thought I was the CMO, and I was like, that is why we're asking you what's going on. Like, and and this was early on, and when we were a little bit younger, he understands the concept now. And I was like, and everyone was like, dang, Alan's really grilling. I'm like, cause I'm serious about this. Like, I didn't go get my homie to do nothing. All this financial stuff is real. Like, if I ask Tosin to do our finances, he's gonna come with it. I'm not gonna be like, oh, he's good for it. Y'all trust me. No, it's a business. Like, and he was almost offended. Like, are y'all gonna let me do what I do and trust what I do? I'm like, yes, but you need to bring your numbers. This is a business that is your friend, not my friend, not his friend, not any friend. We're not saying we don't trust you, but you can't go up to Microsoft and be like, I got a homie and give him this contract. So you can't bring that nonsense in here. Like, I suggested my own marketing person. I was like, hey, and beforehand I let him know. He's like, oh, I can do the marketing. I was like, I don't know about that. You have to pitch it to them. And if it doesn't work out, we'll do something in the future. But
so you mean to tell me, but the department of the ex-department of DHS, she gave the contract $220 million
I wish I got that contract,
A homie. Like, hey man, you want a contract?
I'm always ready. All right.
That's different when even though that's terrible, at least she was the boss of that. Right? If you don't have, she didn't have anyone to answer up till that date. But when you have others, if it's your company, if you want to be reckless and just do friendship deals, that's fine. But
when you're in a group,
a partnership, you have to understand, like, it's not your business.
Yeah.
You have to be accountable to us.
Yeah.
Like, I told my marketing person, he pitched it to y'all. He broke down and brought a presentation. He told everything. And I was like, he was like, and I think that's when he understood, like, we're friends. We're doing business. However, we have to be professional about this and none of this backhand handshake stuff. Because I'm investing, we like this podcast. We invest our real time here.
Yeah,
so we take it seriously.
Right. Yeah.
And if I call you out, you're not gonna be like, I got a homie. You're gonna be like, no, they got to pitch it to y'all.
Yeah.
Like, it's just. So to wrap that up, I think friends can be good, at business, doing business together. But like you said in the very beginning of this podcast, you have to be aligned. You have to set the parameters and kind of have a rubric to grade everything. Otherwise, what are you doing?
I was just thinking there's one part of the, relationship we've yet to touch on, and that's the romantic relationship.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Let's hold that out for next episode. All right.
We're going to hold it up for the next episode?
We have to. Hey. We have to. All right. The producers are saying, hey, it's time to go.
Someone's bedtime.
Hey, you know what? Thank you guys for watching another wonderful episode of Beyond the Grind. Like you've heard here, you've gotten lots of great nuggets about partnerships and relationships. What we're trying to make sure that you understand is that it is a very important decision that you have to make anytime you're about to go into any kind of relationship. So make sure you're aligned. Make sure you talk about structure and even write it down, put it down, make the legal documents done, drafted up front before you go into any business relationship. And when it comes to friendships, be the friend that you want to have.
Exactly.
Until next time, peace.
Make strategic decisions and take calculated risks. We'll also talk about future-proofing your business so you can build a lasting legacy and true freedom. This isn't a one-sided conversation. We're all on this journey together to build a life and a business that works for you, so you don't miss any of our upcoming episodes.